There we go. Okay. Before I do my salute, let me get my sleeve on and make sure we're live. Actually,
I'm great.
okay, hold on. I'm just there. We go. Now we got the salute on. Mostly because yeah, and it's mostly due to this guy right here. It really is. It really
It's
is.
him.
We were using Melon and I had all kinds of issues, so it's pretty much just my fault
Get him
that we're
out of
stuck
here.
using something new.
Get him out.
Spectrum is saying you're muted.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Oh, there's my Red Bull.
Oh, yep, you were. Yeah.
Oh,
I did. I had to listen to myself talk for a moment to verify this. Oh, so terrible.
And now I shouldn't be muted.
All right.
Again, with the NVIDIA broadcast app keeps crashing on me. That thing is, I don't want to say garbage, but nearly that.
It
I don't know
kind of
what's
is.
going on for a few months now. It keeps bugging on me. So sorry about that, everyone. So we are live now. So sorry about this. I've got a new software that I'm using for podcasts, but it's not even related to that. The issue I had, it's the NVIDIA broadcast app that seems to not be doing so well.
I'll have to send you a link for another one that I used to use, but it is available on Windows as well. It's not NVIDIA quality, but if it does the trick, then it might be worth it.
For now, I'm just gonna straight up use the microphone.
I mean, that's what I do with. That's what I do. I mean, I use these fancy looking camouflage. I mean, I know it's hard to see because they're camouflaged and all, but they're PlayStation headphones.
oh yeah, I've
Uh,
seen those before.
Yeah, it's what I'm using, but wired. But I also have the
Good.
yeah, I
studio
use
microphone.
that's the microphone I use. So I
Might have.
cut back a lot of the PC or computer streaming stuff that I had access to. So background noise, you guys will hear everything from my end. If my dog barks, mostly you'll hear that, which is heard, on stream.
Awesome. So I'm just noticing my anyway. Chat is not opening right now. I think it's still my Twitch chat that's on the overlay. So that's something I'll have to fix some other
Uh,
time.
Come on. Eh.
Big changes happening right now, and I haven't had the time to make sure everything is implemented properly. I do apologize for that for every viewers. But we still got the people around, so we got myself, we got Vet, and we got Dylan with us. And we should be getting Brian soon enough. He's finishing something up, and he'll be there in a moment. So, how is everyone doing?
Pretty
um,
good.
I, I'm doing good. Still in Disney awe, I guess, with my channel, with the growth. The I hit 100 channel members yesterday, which I still had to double check a couple of times to verify that that was actually happening. And I've been still just mesmerized by the Disney stuff. I have not gotten as far as other people because the ADHD that triggers in that game alone, holy cow, it's like on a whole nother level. There's
Man.
so much to do in that game. And I had a friend of ours, Rock, thought it was, just it was this easy game. You could just do whatever. And he was watching something. Said I watched him earlier this afternoon. He said the same thing, which is 100% accurate. Like, if you don't realize it when you watch other people and what they're doing, you will soon realize like there is so much to do in that game.
Yup.
Like it is beyond crazy how much there's involved in that game and how good it is with what Gameloft has been able to do with that game with the partnership with Disney.
Wow.
It's I'm really enjoying that game personally. I tried it when it first came out over on Game Pass, and now I've got it on PlayStation. and it's really addictive and really good.
I'll give it a download then.
No, it's definitely worth it. So we got a lot of people in the chat. Ashes, good to see you. Spectrum, Raster,
Ashes.
Polaris sucks. Good to see everyone
Maybe I
here.
should grab my iPad and I can have the chat pulled up. Because I don't have I'm down to one monitor, so I just use the laptop for everything. Because I got rid of the monitor, I got rid of the other computers. So, but I have the Chrome. Well, I don't have a Chromebook anymore. My 5-year-old stole that from me. But I have my iPad. I have the iPad still, so I can grab that in a minute, and that way I can at least keep the chat on the screen.
Okay, I'm just verifying something at the same time.
Oh,
Excellent. So, wanted to check. Dylan, welcome to the podcast, by the way.
Hey, it's good to be here. Great to see you, man.
So, can you introduce yourself just so people know who you are and what you do, what you like?
Hello, everyone. My name's Dylan. You can call me Puck, Pucc. That's usually what I've been going by online for a couple of years. I worked at Studio Taka for a good couple of years. Directed the first episode of the animation series, the Berserk motion comic, as well as co-directed the second episode. I had children along the line, so I kind of stepped away for that. I love games. Games are like my number one thing. Since my first memories is me playing a video game, Super Mario 64 on the N64, and there you go. My life just changed after that. What I do now is I analyze games. I stay home with my kids, and I just play the newest title releases. And I have almost every platform, where I've played almost every platform. So I'm very open-minded on like what companies would do if they're doing something shady. I'll call them out on that. But games are just something I'll love for the rest of the time, you know? And I only envy people who played games before I was even born, you know? People who played in the Atari days, the Sega days. Yeah, you know, the 2600, 5200. I kind of wish that Atari makes a comeback, because I've been looking at like what they've been doing recently with their purchases of Night Dive Studios and their Recharge series. So I'm very interested in going back to the old school. But other than that, I've just been relaxing, playing new video games. Been addicted to Meet Your Maker on PlayStation Plus. Been in love with that. Stuck on a huge PlayStation catalog because I haven't played Horizon and I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima. I've been told multiple times those games are generational titles, and I really got to get on that.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of games coming out right now that are pretty crazy. Good genre-defining games and a lot of good stuff like that. So, what have you been playing lately? Mostly in the last few weeks.
Resident Evil 4 Remake. That game is a game from my childhood that I absolutely adore. I know everything about it. And when I first heard about the remake, I was skeptical. I wasn't so much that way for Resident Evil 2 Remake because I didn't grow up with that one. Resident Evil 4 and 5 were my first titles in the series, so just countless hours on the PS2. And whenever I just play Resident Evil 4 Remake, my jaw is just always open. I'm like in constant shock that Capcom yet again just hits it out of the ballpark. Another solid title. They are really coming back amazingly well since that the dark era of the 7th generation of Capcom. But oh man, just amazing title. Other than that, Meet Your Maker and Shadow of the Colossus. I need to beat that game. I really need to beat that game. That game is beautiful. My lord.
Nice. Good to hear. Yeah, I've heard good things about Resident Evil 4 Remake, how good it is.
So good. So good.
Heard they did a solid job.
Breaks expectations.
Nice. And we got Brian joining in. What's up, man?
My bad, fellas.
No,
I was finishing the game.
He just snuck in here like right out of the shadows. It's so weird.
I was like, bro, I completely lost track of time. I was over here playing DMZ. And I was like,
I was going to say, look, you know he was just playing a PlayStation game.
I was. I was playing COD. Then I was also testing out my controller earlier on Xbox. I was like loving it. Little weird because I'm not used to like the 4 paddles, but I like it. You know, just the extra options, I guess. But I was surprised to hear you like meet was it Maker?
Oh, yeah, Meet Your Maker? Yeah. Small community right now on Steam, and I'm surprised. It's sort of a similar situation with Fall Guys, how the community was a little smaller on PC and bigger on the consoles, but amazing creative community. I've seen maps that are like Mario shaped, Kirby shaped. Really,
I couldn't do it. I tried
it's
so hard.
hard.
I couldn't.
Couldn't you get
It's
into
such
it?
I'll put it like this. I can't. How do I put it nicely? Vet knows I have no filter, but I don't know how to put it nicely.
Just
Alright, fuck
say
it.
it.
You know what? It's ass. It's ass. I fucking hate the
There you
controls.
go.
It is dog shit. Fucking looks like a generic PS3, PS4 game. It's ass.
Oh, come
Look,
on.
I
you
was
can't
so
blame
hyped.
behavior.
No,
and
you
this
can ask
will be the
Doc.
last.
I was hyped
This
for
is
it.
the last show that our guest will appear on now, thanks to this.
Look, I was so excited for it. I even told Doc, I'm like, dude, this looks awesome. So I played it. I was like, what kind of shit is this? A little one tap for a gun, a little one tap button for a melee, and it's like one hit you're dead. It's like similar to what the fuck is that one game with the ninja melee bullshit? That's
look,
part
hey,
4.
Shadow, you have someone that agrees with you in chat. Spectrum agrees with you.
Come on.
Guys,
Come
we're
on.
trying to keep our
Come
guests
on.
coming back. We're
Come
not
on,
supposed
bro.
to scare them away.
Look. I have 47 hours on Steam and probably 20 on
Okay.
PS5.
Well,
Hey, it's not for everyone.
Ashes is-
Okay, it's subjective.
Ashes is on your side. Ashes said graphics don't make good games. Gameplay does,
The
and the
gameplay's
game
ass.
is fun. So there you go. He said the game is fun.
It's fun for him. So again, subjective.
Mhm.
Well, he did. He said he would go to a friend's house to play it.
Oh, he's
I
talking about
understand.
a Commodore 64.
Oh, the Commodore. Wow,
Oh,
that is...
I thought he was.
Nice.
Sorry, I was trying to help you out there, but I guess I was reading the comments wrong.
I had
It's-
the Amiga 500 when I was a kid.
I had
Different
the
strokes for
Nintendo.
different folks, you know?
Yeah.
Atari 500 is...
I had the Nintendo. It was good.
Also had a Nintendo and all that, but like the first one, yeah. So
Man.
good to hear that. So other than that, what have you been playing lately, Brian?
Honestly, I've been playing what's it called? Wulong. I started playing it again because I'm trying to get past the second part. I already got to like max level. Still working on my upgrade on the weapons though. Because I did similar to what I would do for like Final Fantasy games. I would just like level up on the beginning part of a game for no reason, just so I can be OP at the end of it.
Classic.
So-
Just make sure you hit everything in one hit, and that's it.
Basically. So I've been having fun with that. Then I started playing on PlayStation. I'm trying to get Horizon done so I can do Forbidden West.
I need
Just
to get that.
because that game is gorgeous looking. I keep seeing the gameplay of it. I keep seeing the mechanics utilized, and then the DLC looks like even better
Burning
somehow.
Shores.
Yeah.
Well, the
It looks
Burning
a lot
Shores is
better.
PS5 exclusive. I was reading some of the stuff they're implementing in it.
Wow.
Just the clouds,
Well, it's-
like they detailed the
It's more
clouds.
so the tech. It's
Yeah.
the tech that's being utilized, similar to how people are bitching about the PC port of Last of Us. What people fail to understand, I guess it's hard to get through their thick skulls because the fanboys and bullshit on Twitter, is the way that the hardware is utilized on a console is not the same as being utilized on PC. PC has different variations, different components, not the same tech. I mean, Microsoft had to come up with direct storage similar to a situation of how Sony has their SSD set up,
Yeah, with the
but
Kraken.
it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's not the same thing though. It's completely different
The
software
different
optimization.
architecture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, it's completely different, and people do not comprehend it. They're like, "Oh, these devs are lazy. Who the fuck let this shit out?" I'm like, dude, you want to make a fucking game and do the port? By all
Oh,
means,
my
see how
Lord.
easy it is.
This is why we never got a port of MGS4. That thing will be forever locked to that cell processor.
I'm like,
God
it's
damn.
easier to talk shit on fucking Twitter being a keyboard warrior than it is to get your ass up and fucking do it yourself. Like, I've tried dabbling in game development. It's not that easy.
Oh my god.
It's
Fuck.
making it, because that's the thing. Like even PS4 games, like I'm not talking about PS5. We're talking PS4 and certain point Xbox One as well. Even though Xbox has always made their games closer to a PC build as much as possible, but if
Oh, it
you
is.
take-
It's the same code.
Yeah, it's built on DirectX. That's why they made that console.
But look at
But-
the game. What's it called? Wyklin or whatever, the ARPG game. It's only on Xbox because it was a PC port, but it's ass. Apparently, there's so many complaints because the UI wasn't optimized for the consoles. Gameplay itself wasn't optimized. They even did it as a Xbox One game instead of a series. So it was a disappointment.
But you look at a lot of PS4 exclusives that like it's hard to bring those to PC because the performance required on PC would be pretty high, and doing like the equivalents, like all those PS5 games that are going to PC are asking for like 16 and 32 gigabyte of RAM. That's because it actually needs it. It's not bad optimizations because the game is built to the core needing that performance. Because with the PS5, you have the RAM available, but also the PS5 does something that no other system does around. It's using the freaking SSD as RAM. Like, it's not using it as RAM, but it's able to access the data so fast that the only equivalent you can have on other system is to put it in RAM. And even with direct access, you cannot have that kind of speed. So devs have been saying outright that all kind of stuff that normally they have to store in RAM, they can just go read it on the SSD, and it's not a problem. It doesn't affect the game performance. And so trying to take games that can take advantage of that, and that they do utilize it because it frees up a lot of resources for putting more stuff. You take those games, bring them to PC, well, you're going to have some monster requirements for your PC if you want to run that game with the same amount of performance. Now,
it's because they don't have that same architect to offload the assets, and that's what was described in the video. And people try to explain it, and people are still like, "Nah, it's just the lazy optimization." I'm like,
no, it's not.
This shit fucking hurts me, bro. It's like, dude, you can have solid criticism without being a fanboy, without being like fucking having a hard on for your console of choice, because everyone has a preference. But it's like shit. Like, criticize where it's due. Like, I even said it on Twitter. Like, PlayStation is not perfect. There's certain things I wish they can still rework, which is the rewards. It's ass. It's not as good as Xbox rewards. I can't fucking deny it. The subscription I can't compare because it's completely a different model. One is going towards because they get their revenue from sales, while the other is more attaining towards at monthly active users.
Yeah,
and I respect it. I mean, they're making money. They're able to offset the money they have because they have the funds. It's completely different companies. One is $3 trillion worth. The other is like what is it, $100 billion or something?
Yeah,
it's not the same. So again, you had to criticize. Like, just now, the wife surprised me, gave me an awesome Elite Series 2. Love that thing. She got me 8 terabytes storage, which is a temporary solution for my game storage, but I still need more SSD options. Western Digital came out with one. Still not enough. I need 4 terabytes. I hate deleting games. Meanwhile,
it's competition.
Exactly. But at least it's helping it out slowly but little. And I understand why Xbox did it. They wanted to make ease of use. But it's not that hard if you look up a YouTube tutorial and see how to implement an SSD the way Sony did it. And Sony had to learn the hard way from the Vita days with the whole proprietary tech they had. And that shit was ass.
The memory card.
They were expensive. I got 2 of those memory
horrible.
cards that are pretty sizable. I went for some big ones. And
the
memory
gig?
cards cost me more than the Vita.
Like $128 sometimes for like a really big memory card. Unbelievable.
So not every console is perfect. It's just all about your preferences. But I will say this, though. I had an update on the Xbox recently, and hopefully Sony does the same thing, is the user interface. I was looking at how to organize the games and everything. They made it a whole lot better. And Sony's up there as well, because Sony also started recently doing the playtime on your cards now. No, not even that. Playtime on your cards. So every time you highlight over your icon of your game that you played, it even shows hours. I wish it didn't, because now I know I have no fucking life on For Honor.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I've already broken past 32 hours on Disney Dreamlight Valley, and I started that, I think, like 2 weeks ago.
Bet I have 1,500 hours on For Honor. It's fucking horrible.
So that you haven't gone over what have you been playing lately? It's like is it only Disney Dreamlight Valley or?
I mean, I've been playing some offline stuff. You know, I still do like wrestling, the WWE 2K23, but it's mostly been that. But also, I really haven't streamed that much. When I was out in Virginia, I was on vacation out in Virginia again, so I was hanging out with family, so I didn't really stream a whole lot. And when
Yeah,
I
that's
was
how
when I
that's
wasn't
just
streaming,
curious.
I was just kind of hanging with family out and enjoying the nice weather.
Ben, did you see Cowboys stream for WWE 2K23?
Yeah, I've given up.
Game is
There's
ass.
just
Game is ass. Game is
it's
ass. I was so
it's
pissed.
it's fallen apart. It's unfortunate. It had so much potential, and then it went the 2K route and just went right downhill.
Dude, it's the servers. Like the gameplay is solid. The mechanics are fun.
Oh
I
yeah,
like it. But
I
the
I
servers
have
are
high hopes for
ass.
certain games. I've been watching trailers for a few games. I did watch the trailers for the EA Sports PGA Tour. I checked some footage of that out on the PS5. I've been waiting to see some footage for the new soccer game, and I'm just concerned because it's EA, and anybody that knows me knows how much I despise EA. Anything
Yeah.
that's EA, mostly because they destroy everything they touch. Um, but I'm hoping to God that they fail miserably with Madden 24, so that the NFL pulls the license out from under them and gives it to pretty much
Everyone
open
else.
access.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Like this is, and from what I was told, what I've been reading up on with the whole Madden thing, it's not even the sales. It's literally the NFL said, figure this out or you're done. This is it. This is your last chance.
It's
And
because they're
I
not
don't
looking at
think,
the sales. They're looking at the comments. It's getting bad
yeah,
to the point where people
the
are asking
negative
the
feedback
NFL.
the negative feedback is killing it, killing the game itself. You're right. It's not sales. There's still everybody is still buying it. As they're in line, they're still out there tweeting, "God, I hate EA and I hate Madden. Why am I buying this?"
It's the only thing
And
they can buy.
yeah, it is, and it's unfortunate that because Madden has never managed to fix itself ever since ESPN NFL 2K5. That they have never been able to get past that game, and that game is still out there being modded and adjusted, updated rosters, all of that stuff. The graphics still look better. The gameplay is still better for a game that's came out in '04. That game with the mods and everything that the community has taken over does a better job than EA can do for Madden, which is sad.
Yeah. They had so much opportunity. There was ESPN football, NCAA. Oh my lord, NCAA was so good. Oh,
The yes.
You know
O3
what's
was the
sad?
first one I
It's
played.
the same
Wrestling
devs.
games. Oh man, those
Oh,
were good
Lord.
games.
NCAA is the same devs, and yet somehow it went to shit. They still can't figure it out. But yet the running mechanics was top notch. It was perfection. The passing was good. Now it's what was it, that cone vision bullshit in Madden 12? Then they redid it again on this one, and they're like,
Yes.
it's a brand new mechanic. I'm like, bro,
It's
the fuck
not
outta here
though.
with that
Everything that every
Really?
time EA says that something is brand new, go
It's
back
reused.
and look at something from years ago, because I guarantee you it's reused from one of their older titles. Even it doesn't even have to be the same game. Like the street football that they included in Madden.
NFL
Guess
Street.
what? That came from EA Big. The EA Big Sports from the NFL Street days. That was
Yeah.
an EA title.
And
Just
But they
worse.
don't tell you that. They're just like, hey, guess what, guys? Look, we added a new thing. It's called Street Football or whatever they changed the name to. And I'm just like, that's NFL Street, right? I'm not the only one that thinks this, right?
Yeah.
Not like, I'm
It's just
not
shittier
going crazy.
mechanics.
It
It's so
is.
bad.
I just don't understand it. I don't even want another Madden. I'll be okay if somebody can come out with NFL Blitz. Like, just update that for me. Give me a new updated NFL Blitz so I can just pulverize the living crap out of Aaron Rodgers, and I'll be happy.
The good old days.
Except I've heard that my football team may end up in Canada, so that's unfortunate for me.
Yeah, I heard about
Washington.
that. The Commanders.
Yeah, Washington Commanders. They have a local billionaires that have, including Magic Johnson, that have placed a $6 billion bid. But now there's a Canadian billionaire and I think it's billionaire. I'm assuming that's still the same format for money, Canada. money.
I think they. Yeah, it is.
But they have now somebody in Canada has has shelled out $6 billion as well. And the thing is, and I told some people that follow football that the thing with this is that Toronto wants a team in Canada. The NFL wants a team in Canada. They almost had the Bills, but Buffalo decided, oh, let's get the stadium built. We don't want to lose our team. So if somebody buys a team, the likelihood, especially if they're based in Canada, is I could foresee them. And Washington needs a new stadium. Anybody that follows the NFL knows that stadium is a disaster, especially when you've got pipes leaking unknown liquids onto people.
Raining constantly.
Yeah, God knows what that was. But I could very easily see the team relocating to Toronto. So I guess I'll have to get a passport and support my Canadian team now.
So it would be coming to Canada courtesy of Deadpool or something like that? Or?
Logan.
I'll have to figure it out.
So just going to go around the chat, see what's up with
Look,
everyone.
chat's buzzing.
Yeah, a lot of retro gaming talk in there. So we got Polaris Sucks who said hello there, and Spectrum with saying that I was muted, and Rouster who's at the gym as usual. Man, that guy must be cut. He's always at the gym whenever I see him in chat.
All you got to do is just look at his YouTube profile picture. Like I just am like, oh, that's why I use a retro logo for my name. Because everyone can see that I am not gym material.
Well, and we got Ashes. Good to see you. Talking about Meet Your Maker.
Man, so good. So good. I'm not having any backlash. I would say.
Everyone's gonna be all like, all right, head to Twitter. We gotta activate the keyboard warriors. We got a guy on this channel saying this game is great. Attack mode.
It is, I swear. I swear. Look, it may be ugly, but it's creative.
Hey, but you know what? I thought I liked the latest Wolfenstein game that had come out. I liked that, and that got terrible reviews, and I think almost everybody hated it. But I still thought it was good. But I just liked the storyline, and I liked to kill Nazis. So either way, it was a win for me.
I haven't gave that one a try. I've gotten midway through
it's because it didn't have the primary character in it, and it had his daughters, and I think it was more or less online. Like you had to have co-op, so you could team up, but you could still do a solo. But it wasn't. It kind of veered from where all of the other games had gone. I think that's what ticked off most of the people. I really liked it. I still liked it.
Meet Your Maker's so good. Guess how many stars it has out of 10?
Oh my God. Our whole show is going to be on this game.
Higher than 5, maybe. If it's higher than 5,
4.8. 4.8 out of 10.
Look, that's
Even other
people
people said
can't
it's ass.
It's not.
That's
because
they can't be too low.
Push Brayton said it was ass.
Just got the break. I have words for DMZ and Activision. I swear. I used to have a case of my Call of Duty stuff, man. But fine. All right. You know what? I'll change the game that I'm playing this week. This week I've been playing Atari 50th Anniversary Collection, and God be damned, I understand why those games survive the test of time. This is fun. Lunar Lander. If you guys haven't played Lunar Lander,
but you know what? You don't need a memory card for those games. You don't need a memory card for Nintendo games. You just need pen and paper to write down your password, because if you don't, you're starting all over.
That's it.
Y'all don't know how many times I had to adjust that password every time and remember. And if I lost that paper, I wasn't playing the game again.
Thank God I had the first time I actually had to write down the password was for, I think, Super Castlevania 4 with like the.
Oh man, that was just torture back in the day.
Oh my God.
Oh, so there's a rumor when Mr. PS5 Remote Play handheld 50th option to play games comes out on November.
Yeah.
I heard that.
I heard November.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. You know what? I'm excited for it. I would be okay with that.
I think I'm just gonna be the Debbie Downer of this whole channel today.
Well, it's one of the main subject I wanted to bring. Dylan and I were actually talking about it earlier, because there's been rumors coming all over the place. The first one who mentioned it was Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb straight out said it was a cloud gaming device. And then it's Tom Henderson, I believe, who went on saying, "Oh, it's a device that's targeted for remote play, and that's
which is technically cloud.
it's cloud and it isn't, but it kind of is. If you have a device that can do remote play, it can do cloud gaming. There's nothing stopping that device from doing cloud gaming, except that Sony hasn't yet released their mobile cloud service for the games, and we don't know when it's coming out. We suspect it's coming out soon, but how soon? Hard to say. So if they're working on this right now, and that they do need to do like some pitch to insiders and talk with them, like, oh, okay, how's it gonna go with the public and all that, and they don't know if the cloud's gonna release this year or next year or in 2 years, they can't go and say, oh, it's a cloud gaming device. They have to go with the same thing as the backbone that they released, the DualSense backbone. That is not designed for cloud, even though the device itself is designed for cloud gaming. That version of the device is meant for remote play, because that's what PlayStation supports right now. All of the messaging is towards remote play and not towards cloud gaming. But the moment PlayStation releases cloud gaming on mobile, that device will be very usable for cloud gaming. And the new device that's being rumored, talked about for remote play with a 8-inch LCD screen, the information that's been leaking out, they've been saying that it needs to be connected to the internet to be usable. So it's not like the Wii U second display where it had a radio connection to the Wii U, that it was a specific connection for that device. Like, you want to have a specific connection from that remote play device to your PS5 on the radio waves that's unique to PlayStation. It needs to be on the internet. So that means the device needs to have its own firmware and softwares. You need to be able to connect to the internet. So where does it make sense for Sony to actually make a device like that connects to the internet, has full access to basically logging all your information, communicating with a console, and not implement cloud gaming in the future, especially knowing Sony's big plans they have for the metaverse and a bunch of stuff like that they're pushing right now. They have a lot of plans for that. So integrating cloud gaming and possibly even mobile app within the device, I think would make more sense for them, depending on how much they want to put the price point. But cloud gaming definitely is something they're thinking about with that device, and they're likely optimizing for. But for the messaging, talking to whoever, like insiders that have access to information about that, they're just going to talk about remote play, because they can't ensure that cloud gaming will come before the device is, especially if we're talking about a November release date that's being rumored right now. I'm guessing right now Sony is still testing out stuff in their infrastructure for mobile, and they can't assure that by November the cloud will be released for PlayStation. I'm hoping it's going to be sooner than that.
Huh?
Most likely won't. So that's why I think messaging is kind of mixed, and insiders are putting their touch to it, saying, oh no, it's not for cloud gaming. It's very likely being designed for cloud gaming, but they just can't say it is at the moment.
If that's the case, here's the bigger topic: who's willing to buy it?
I have an interest for that, even if it's just for remote play.
But here's the thing: I'm not talking about you guys specifically. Categorizing, casuals or diehard fans.
Yeah.
Who do you think it's going to be targeted mostly? Let's be honest.
It's the top.
Because think logically, it's the diehard fans. Because logically, look, remote play, my phone, boom, don't need it. You can just hook up the backbone. You have the Razer Kishi. You have all these other options. What's the point from buying the device?
For me, it's going to be.
Muted.
Sorry?
Vet's muted. I don't know if he's trying to talk again.
Oh,
there you
sorry.
go.
No. So what would you say? I get that you're thinking the hardcore gamers, but what's your battery life like? I know you got a phone, you could use remote play on your phone, but what's your battery like?
Pretty good.
If it has haptic feedback, oh my lord, this thing's battery life.
Okay, that's another thing. If the dedicated device does have those features that the DualSense controller has, and the controller itself doesn't last that long, what makes you think the handheld's going to last that long?
True.
Well-
true. All right.
Then again,
I'm
think
still
about
gonna
the
get
G
it,
Cloud.
so it doesn't matter.
Ashes is in the chat. He's got the G Cloud. Can you let us know how long the battery lasts for the G Cloud? Because
Yeah.
it seems to me this is going to be a
Ash
very
says the same thing. It's mostly the fans.
Yeah, it'll be.
And here's the
mostly
bigger thing:
fans.
the price point.
Oh my god, I've been thinking about that all since they announced
I'm
that.
not-
It has.
It's-
I'm not even. I'm not even a fan of PlayStation. I don't even like PlayStation.
Oh yeah,
I mean-
say that while wearing a shirt and the background. Come on now.
Welcome
What
to
are
the
you talking
Xbox
about?
podcast.
Just because I had the controllers long before the system.
The fun thing, Vet, is that now that background you can justify having it. Now you got the
I
machine
know. Like I had the background before I had the console. I had the controllers before I had the console. So yeah, I can't really say that I'm not a fan.
Rudig says he gets 12 hours out of his Logitech
good.
G Cloud. It's excellent because you have to think that device can sport a pretty large battery compared to the controller, which is a tiny, like, I don't know if you ever seen the DualSense battery, but it's super tiny and super thin compared to a G Cloud, which it's a pretty large device. The battery can be pretty sizable in there, so it's going to last for a while. So we got, by the way, hi Rudigs, and we got Ghost Strat in the chat. Good to see you guys. But they can put a bigger battery. It can have a longer lasting life. You can play with it while still having your phone available if you receive messages and all that, because that's one thing I find super annoying. Playing a game, get a pop-up notification, someone writes to me on Discord, someone writes to me on Messenger, like all kind of notification, and I want to answer. It's like I got to pause my game and go into the other app, then go back into my remote play. It's super annoying. Having that separate device is more convenient, better battery life. Ghost Rat says he stole the G Cloud, but you got the Razer Edge instead. So the price point for that PlayStation device, the PlayStation Q, we're gonna have to see. It all depends on, because we don't know yet what the device will be capable of doing, its capabilities, its features, and all. Because if it's specifically just a remote play device and that it doesn't do anything else and it doesn't have the potential to do anything else, 150, 200, that's a fair price. That's what it's going to be at, and I don't expect it to sell that much. So it's going to be an added accessory. But if it's more like the G Cloud, but PlayStation branded, and that they have planned to implement cloud gaming on it, they have plans for possibly mobile app, because we know they got a Horizon MMO they're making that will have a mobile version, native mobile. If it's able to run games like that, and like depending on how much stuff they want to cram into it, they could push the price up to $300, $400, $500, and it will find a market if it's a good enough device that justifies that price tag. But we don't even know at the moment what it will be capable of, what the nature of the device will be. So of course, if it's just a device that's meant to be remote play and nothing else, I might look instead into the G Cloud or the Razer Edge, one of those devices. But it all depends on the features it will have and what are the plans for it. But we don't have yet an official announcement for it.
Did you guys see EA made a new game, or the game's coming out in like a few months on July 20th?
They made a new one?
Yeah, Mortals of AVM.
Mortals of
It's
AVM?
it's a magical first-person shooter.
Apparently
it's shown. No, it's shown at the Game Awards last year, but it's just weird that it's already coming out.
Huh. Well, I've been thinking on that topic that you just said, Spaceman, about the pricing of it. I'm kind of cautious. Well, I'm a little cautious on the pricing, because it's been a decade since Sony's really priced anything in regards to like a handheld, right? in comparison. Let's think about it like compared to its peers. What Sony think about like a competitive price point advantage to owning either like a Switch or Switch Lite or the Steam Deck. And of course, like you said, this is for the this is gonna have to be for that die-hard PlayStation fans like you, me. Um, man, I'm just scared because the Vita was price point at a kind of a really bad price point. It was at launch what $249, and then
Yeah.
for the 3G version, as much as a PlayStation 3
I was
at that
looking
time.
at that. $249 for the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, $249. I'll never forget that price. It was ridiculous because they were selling two versions of that. I'm not sure if they're going to do the same thing with this handheld, that they'll release either like a version with lesser storage. Probably not. But it's just Sony isn't afraid to kind of put that price gauge a little higher. And of course, this is evident of like the PSVR. I would love one. It's just they're really, really expensive. But for what it is, it'll have to come to the price point and the titles that are included with cloud, because there's so many PlayStation games that are not on the cloud or not available on that store that I really wish I could play, like Killzone. Shadowfall's the only one on that store, and I was really disappointed because I wanted to play 2, the 3, and I know they have the opportunity to add older titles from the PSP, like Resistance Retribution, or even older games like Siphon Filter. I saw that on the store, Tekken 2. And those games are available on the cloud, so I assume those will also show up on that aspect of the Q-Lite store or whatever cloud storefront that they have, if it's going to be purchasable or if it's going to be download. I'm not entirely sure on that either, but I think it's also important that it's just not like a port. It's just my personal preference. I don't want like a portable PS5. I'm very used to the traditional handheld experience that these games were made for that system, like games like Killzone Mercenary, God of War, the God of War PSP titles, the Grand Theft Auto PSP titles. I do miss like those attempts of just capturing the essences of those games and then bring them to a handheld experience that I can take with me, that didn't have internet, which we live in a world where 5G is. I can go to like a hotel over here at Vegas and pop it in and it'll probably work fine for me. But at home, in my experiences, remote play really hasn't worked that well for me, unfortunately. And even though I have like the laptop in the same area as my PS5, even hooked up with Ethernet, I'm still having some issues. So there is some work, but I know that if you have a dedicated app for that, you can solve a lot of latency issues. So it's just, I have to see more info on what titles will be available for their cloud launching platform. It has to be, I think, hitter titles. Like, it can't just be a copy paste of the classics on the PlayStation Plus lineup. It needs to be something that I think is compelling, either though, like, and they can pretty much universally transfer it across the Essentials lineup here. They just have to kind of introduce it, maybe add it amongst like the Essentials tier or however that tier program is. I just subscribed when I got my taxes back. I was like, $100 for a year. Let's go. That's why I got my catalog of Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon games, Shadow. It's a lot of games. So having that on that handheld platform is going to be very beneficial if you're not always like me. I like being on my computer in my living room. So having the PlayStation in my room and having that here would be a good use case scenario. It's just I'm very wary about like the state of their server infrastructure when that launches, because I remember when I played PlayStation Now, it's been a while since I used that, but
you should give it another try because they improved drastically within the last 2 years.
Okay.
It's to the point, I know not everyone had the same experience, but for me, stream quality wise, and I'm not talking about performance of the games, stream quality wise, it's almost as good as GFN for me.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's 1080p now. It's looking really great. The streams are super stable. In a whole evening that I was streaming it, before I got my PS5, I was playing a ton of games, and I had like maybe half a second during one game that I saw some pixelation. The rest was all crystal clear. So the stream PlayStation have invested in it, and it's looking really good. Plus, they've gotten rid of Microsoft Azure. They're now on AWS, which is a much more robust cloud infrastructure for hosting. And they have their own server blades that are really good. So the quality definitely went up, way up.
Good. Okay. I'll test it. I'll give it a download tonight. I'll give it a try.
The PC app works well on the PlayStation 5. It works well, but it works better on the PC app if you have Ethernet connected. It works really well.
I'll give it another try then. What point was I going to make here? Well,
sorry,
just besides
you.
Oh, no. We're just talking. But yeah, the price point and the game launch lineup, those are like my most concerning problems. I'd love to see more cloud titles across legacy PlayStation titles. Resistance 1 and 2 need to come online. Sony's been sitting on SOCOM. Sony's been sitting on these titles, and I do think it is coming up with that rumored stage 2 of PS5, where they're going to start hitting the ceiling now that the console's out and about. Sony's expanding upon the family of the PlayStation 5 ecosystem with VR, and now with this, possibly the Pro. So this handheld could be future-proofed for future PlayStation product titles. And I'm intrigued. I want to see what it looks like, because I have this controller here. If it's just going to be basically a giant screen in the middle, it's got to feel comfortable. How big is it going to be, honestly, if it's going to fit comfortably in my hands here? Because this thing is one of the best controllers I've ever used, honestly. Haptic feedback is a selling point I think they should really concentrate on. I love my Xbox One. My Xbox controllers, my Series S controller. It's just, but when I'm playing Resident Evil on here compared to Series S, it's just the immersion feeling of having that rumble feature. That was a good comparison. Yeah, when I first had on the PS2 was the first rumble feature. I can't remember if it was PS1 or PS2, but the extra immersion layer, it's unbelievable. And for a handheld, I think that's gonna be pretty big.
It's not necessarily rumble. What you're referring to is the resistance. That's what the haptic feedback is. It's the trigger sensation of, basically, for example, let's say you're playing any shooter. That's where it comes into big play, is shooters.
Yeah,
that's
the
why
trigger resistance. Yeah, Call of Duty.
It's to get that feeling of where you're pulling that actual trigger on an actual gun. That's the immersion that comes from the haptic feedback. Everyone gets it confused because Rumble's on every controller. Haptic feedback is more of the resistance and the feel of actually pulling the trigger. And that's why it only mostly towards shooters, but it is implemented in Gran Turismo. It's mostly towards the braking and gas system. So you can feel the tension of the car and the brakes when you're actually hitting on the brakes or the gas and accelerating. And the RPM of it, you feel everything.
I'm one of those weird people that go manual in GT7, so I got square and X here. I'm just,
see, my thing is I had to do the back pedals because I finally got the controller, the fancy one, and it is freaking awesome. I love it. Now I can do shift gears with the paddles instead.
Wow! I don't need all that mess with controllers. I just use what's given to me.
Actually, it's not that hard. Because you can easily make a profile. I've even done everything for the Xbox and that one.
I know, but that requires me to do stuff. And
it's not that bad.
It's literally extra steps to play a game.
You're going to trigger people. You know why? Because that's the reason why people are complaining about the SSD installation. Well, now I got to get a screwdriver.
I don't have that either. I have external. Well, I don't have any sitting here because it's plugged in. Yeah, but I have external devices.
Nope.
Just rip that bad boy open.
Most of the games that require a ton of space, I don't play. Battlefield, I don't play. I don't care for that. Call of Duty, I hate that. Madden, I'll end up downloading Madden 24, play it once, realize it's garbage, and uninstall it.
Just stream it. It's not that great. It's horrible.
If it's streamable, I will, because then I don't have to waste my storage space. That's the benefit. Is like, why do I need the for me? It doesn't benefit having the extra space because I can just stream everything that if there's a game I want.
Yeah. I mean, the Q-Lite has potential, whatever the code name is. I don't know if it's legit or not because we won't see it until the showcase. And that's if Sony has a showcase. And that's another thing. Sony has really been slacking, and it's because they're becoming like 2K. They get fucking comfortable because there's no competition, or they don't see people as competition, and that's not a good thing either.
Look, let's be real. Whose fault is it that Sony doesn't have competition?
No, here's the thing. It's how they see it, though. Because let's
Microsoft
be
maybe
honest.
should just do better.
Here's the thing, though.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Nintendo, let's be
You're
honest,
gonna get
is
Xbox Square all over you right now.
It wouldn't be it wouldn't be the first time.
No, but let's be honest. Nintendo isn't really shit when it comes to its when you
I
try to
don't say
compare it
nothing
into
bad
the
about
circle.
my.
But they have amazing IPs. Yeah, they have amazing IPs.
The content.
They're known for fun. It's nostalgia. But let's be aware, they do the bare minimum of their hardware. It's ass. It shows now with certain games.
Nintendo, I don't know who this guy is.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know
to come after
this
me.
guy.
Nothing go after me.
And if the
I
platform
expect
doesn't
more.
sell well, Sony's no stranger to abandoning its own platform. That's what happened with the Vita, and that's what I'm afraid of for the VR2.
Sean Layden came into office and he slashed the Vita and PlayStation Now.
I don't think the VR2 will get slashed though. That's one area I don't see them cutting.
But the sales
ties with.
are it's not gonna be
But-
that great.
It's still early. VR is still in its infancy. With the VR2, it's still technically.
I was looking at
niche.
numbers, and the PSVR 2 is actually one of the best-selling VR headset out there.
Excellent.
It's doing well for VR. It's just we're
And the thing
looking
is-
at it from the PlayStation scope, but it's selling better than the first PlayStation VR.
Well, we'd have to look at it from like the VR scope, not the place, not
Yeah.
don't look at its PlayStation because
I'm
if
not
you
looking at
think
his
about-
PlayStation. I'm looking at it even as VR. My thing is, and I've said this to countless times.
There's
to
only
multiple
two
people,
VR.
Why the fuck would I spend $550 fucking dollars to play one game? They
I
need
picked up-
better content. That's the thing.
I picked
Oh,
up
there's
this
a
bad
lot.
boy for like 200. It's one of the best investments. It's like a lower model, but I see the appeal. It's just I think the price point of the VR2. I'm completely bought by VR2. Resident Evil in VR, Resident Evil 4 in VR. I think that's gonna be a very big title for that when they do get that update
See, that's the
rolling.
thing. When they get more content and more games, and I even told Doc this, if they ever implemented PlayStation Home in VR,
Yeah,
then maybe I would fucking invest in it. But my thing is, only
Dylan,
get
I
my
think
one
you need
is
new
GT7.
shorts seeing your facial reaction there.
My God, PlayStation Home was everything to me back in the day. Oh my lord.
It was.
We
Going to
we
the
got
world-
back.
We have had many a conversation, not only on this podcast, but the previous Cloud podcast discussing PlayStation Home and the need for it to be resurrected from the dead.
Ashes, he even says it, like, no one should buy for one game. Because my thing is only see Gran Turismo 7. And I'm not going to buy the headset for that. I'm not going to then have to buy the setup, which is the wheel, the clutch, and the seat, which is another, like, total packaging. It's like almost $1,000.
It
Right,
looks
but
pretty
there are
sweet.
people- But
having
but
the whole
you gotta-
setup.
You got to admit, though, there are those out there that will do that.
Yeah,
Just
if I had
for that
fucking
game.
money, by all means, I'd buy the shit out of it, but I don't.
I mean, I don't have the setup for that. I'm not going to buy that.
Yeah.
But I know there are people out there that are heavily invested in specific games.
I'll put it like this, though. I can't knock this, though. PlayStation VR 2 is phenomenal. Looking at it from the price to hardware ratio and knowing what you're getting into. Because if you wanted the same specs, the same experience, the same details, graphics, everything, you would have to spend over $2,000. Period.
Yeah.
And that's just that
and it would not, well, and it would not be the Quest. Or
and
the
it's
Pro
dedicated
Quest.
hardware. People
Right,
forget that.
You
it's
would
dedicated
need,
hardware.
to get that equivalent, you would be looking at like the HTC or one of those other models that's like over $1,000.
It's
No, but let's put it
equivalent-
like this. Hold on, guys. Let's put it like this. Example we just talked about, the PC port games of PlayStation 5. That'd be the same fucking scenario. It's dedicated hardware. You can't really compare it. And people will say like, oh, that VR is expensive. Oh, why isn't it compatible with PC? Motherfucker, it's the same reason why the PC ports aren't going well. It's dedicated hardware. It's not going to go
what
well.
do they expect? It's like, come on.
It's
Like,
I know.
I don't understand how it's so
No,
hard to
that's
comprehend.
not fair because Xbox games work great on PC. Oh no, shit!
It's the
Sherlock.
same architect. It's
And
the
that's what I
same.
was.
That's how they build the Xbox. It's using
But you-
Xbox, so the name comes from DirectX.
But you know there are people out there that's the comparison. That's what they're going to do. Well, if Xbox can do it, Sony should be able. No, that's not how it works.
And this is
Sony's
why
architecture
Xbox
and Xbox
has.
architecture aren't the same. I said this earlier
No.
this afternoon. We had a friend of ours, Audi, that was calling, bringing up the Xbox, PlayStation, BS, and all that.
There are two very
cop
different
out-
architecture.
Popped out by saying
Yeah.
he doesn't even have an Xbox anymore. He just says. But anyways, I said the Xbox, in essence, is a glorified window. It's a Windows machine. It may not run Windows on it, but it still runs.
It has Windows
it does.
apps
It
on
does.
It has
Mhm.
Windows apps. It is a glorified PC.
It does run Windows.
Heck,
Yeah,
when they
it
were
does.
building it, they had to go to the accounting Excel department and all that because they needed their source codes. And the guys were trying to bargain out of
Yeah,
them to implement some Excel sheet breakdown document that it could be edited on the Xbox, the original one. And they had to lie to them, oh yeah, we're going to do a financial app for the Xbox, just because they wanted to get that source code. But they had no interest in doing that because what they wanted is just a source code so they could implement the DirectX in its total function.
Yeah, I
but as light as
agree with
possible.
Ashes. Ash said, I mean, they're both PCs nowadays. True, but the
Well,
difference,
correction.
what I was going with
PlayStation 1
without
X.
Audi was under this mindset that with controller support and all these things, and it was mostly just to irritate me, I think. But I think I irritated him more when I said the Xbox is just a big old PC. And then he tried to counter it, and then of course Doc was in the chat to counter his claims almost immediately. Before I even could say something, I think Doc must have already been typing.
Well,
Hey, but it's not a bad thing to
told
say
him.
it's a PC because here's the
It's
thing, though.
not.
The consoles are optimized for gaming specifically. And that's why people still buy Xboxes and consoles because
But what is everybody has always clamored they wanted? They would want Microsoft to make a gaming PC. The hell's an Xbox? That's what they did. They just didn't make it like a laptop or a desktop. They made an Xbox. They made
Plus,
a
you can
console.
run
That's your
what's it
gaming
called
PC right
emulators
there.
until fucking Nintendo ruined it. Apparently, they're trying to
Yeah,
they're blocking it now.
Well, I mean, come on now. We
Fucking
should have
Nintendo.
guessed that.
Pay for emulation.
Hey, you know what? If you want emulation, that's what use your PC, folks. Don't be using the Xbox, or just buy the damn system.
Yeah, there's a big screen TV.
And you don't even need to emulate it. It's the real thing.
console were always just specialized electronic, which is like a PC with only one function. But that's the thing, though. In my opinion, console gaming has been for a while superior to PC gaming, and I know I get some flack for saying that.
Oh, you will piss
But-
off the entire PC.
But 100%, I think console gaming is superior to PC gaming because in order to match the performance and get better on PC than you get
Yeah,
with
do so many
console,
modifications. It's
you
so stupid.
need to like spit out the dough. Like you need to buy some pretty expensive parts because if we look at the PSVR 2, for example, one of the studio that was making one of the game, they said in order, like the PSVR 2 was getting better performance than their PC VR rigs that were using like RTX 3090, I think. So the GPU itself is more expensive than the console, and you don't have the rest of the PC plus the VR headset and everything. Like the price of a 3090 when they were working on the game, it alone was more than the PS5 and the PSVR 2 combined.
Yeah.
So in terms of, okay, yeah, it is possible in certain games to get better performance on a PC than on a console, but a lot of time you'll get a better optimization for the price value on a console than a PC, and you will not have driver problems on a console. On a PC, something messes up,
Dedicated hardware.
you can be several weeks of troubleshooting your PC, trying to figure out what is going on, deleting everything, starting fresh, a fresh OS install, still not working, trying to find what's wrong. On a console, when you have a problem,
Look
you
at
look at the warranty, you get the console changed.
I was gonna say, look at Ash's last.
I have every platform in a high-end gaming PC. I enjoy console gaming more because it's little annoyance that get in the way of gaming on regular basis. When on PC, add up over time. Give me Game Pass and PS Plus with the consoles, and I'm golden. Exactly.
And that's the thing right there. It's what Ash has said. That hits. That is exactly the issue that separates the PC genre from the consoles, and it's those little things. It's not the notable stuff, but all the little things that add up and ruin the gameplay for you will bring you to the console.
If you develop a game for PlayStation, and let's say you develop for PS5, you're making the game. You're worried about
True, and some
PlayStation
good
5,
sales.
and that's it. If you do it for PC, you have to look with Nvidia. You have to look with AMD. You have to look with Intel, making sure the GPU, the CPUs, the
Even the OS
RAM and everything
compatibility.
that will have the drivers
Yeah.
that work well. The motherboard, certain motherboards will have problem with certain games.
you gonna
It's
make it-
weird
are you-
glitches happening.
But are you going to
Mhm.
design it for Apple? Are you going to, or is it just Windows
Exactly.
only? Is
That's
it
something else
it
that's
Linux?
coming into the
Linux
equation.
is the other one that you got to factor. Then you got Linux
So
that you throw in the mix
w-
because
why-
like the Steam Deck.
why did Epic Game never bring Fortnite to Stadia? They said it outright. Like Todd Sweeney, he
Yeah,
said
Yeah,
he
whatever.
didn't want to add another platform that they had to update the game for because they were doing updates too often. And if they were adding a platform, they needed to know the player base was there. So every time they add a platform, it means every single update they push, they have to include that platform on top of it, and it's extra expenses because you're spending more time optimizing for another
Well,
platform.
as much as I loved Stadia when it was with the potential that it had, I don't think that even Fortnite could have saved it. To be honest, I don't think that would have saved it. And
So
brought
what,
the-
David?
I don't think it would
Actually
have brought the
fucking
players.
buying games for it.
They should have hired me. They should have hired me. I would have fucking sold that thing to the moon. I swear. It's
But it's
That's
like
just apparently
apparently
problem,
Luna is
bro. They
getting
didn't want to
it.
invest money.
Apparently Luna is getting Fortnite, but the thing about Luna, and that's what they said when they were doing it, it's pretty much a Windows install. If your game can be installed on Windows, it can be installed on Luna. Then you just need to optimize it.
Luna's
So.
been making. Luna's been doing pretty well. Not 100%
Luna's
better,
Luna,
but
man. Luna's just
they're
fucking
they're
there.
moving. They're slowly. I will say they're slowly moving in the right direction.
They're setting up the stage, I'd say.
Yeah, they're. Let's be real. I honestly thought that they were going to be fizzling out when they opened it up to the UK and Canada. That was the right step. I don't know why it took them so long, but maybe it was they were watching what Google's failures were doing and they didn't want to They didn't want to do the same thing. I don't know.
And it might actually be why they lost so many games because of licensing issues in different countries.
with Google, maybe even.
Mm-hmm.
Google's just cheap as fuck. They didn't want to spend the money.
Never.
Fucking dumbasses.
I saw.
Hey, but you know what? We can thank Google for one thing. It got us Haven Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, here's another thing.
Google, we would not have Haven Studios.
All right. Now, because if the deal goes through, which it most likely will, all the cloud providers will have access to Activision Blizzard games.
That's crazy because I think if
Except Stadia.
they just held out a little longer because even as bad as it was, I thought that before they even announced the shutdown that Stadia itself has placed a little small corner for itself. You know, it was the face practically, I guess, of cloud gaming. There was, of course, GFN that had a much bigger audience, and Luna was there too, and of course the other cloud streaming programs. But everyone always kind of looked at Stadia as, and rightfully so, it was kind of the first of its kind as a total platform.
It is its only kind.
Yeah. Basically, it's its only kind, and I always believed in the idea that they should have, anyone can play video games anywhere. If once the internet infrastructure becomes more expanded, 6G and beyond in the later decades, everyone will be able to have the opportunity to play a AAA game on their phone. And I really did believe in that. Oh, I don't know why my camera's over here. There we go.
On an Apple device too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
Here's the thing, though. Stadia actually worked.
It worked.
Yeah. That was the main issue with Stadia. When it came out, it worked, But then the media started bashing it and saying it didn't, and people were going out of their way making clips showing that it didn't work. And then everyone started believing him, even Google themselves, almost, because they cut the investment. They stopped doing because
A lot of the
first year
features didn't
Stadia
come out
was
that they were showing
stellar.
us.
They were making an announcement. They were signing deals. It was going well. It's just the media were bashing him for some reason. Like, I don't know. And then over time,
I said
after
it
they
from
didn't
the-
get a
from the
reception they
get-go with-
wanted, it started to fizzle down. And then it was a slow death for a very long time that we've been calling.
I said it from the get-go. It was the issue. I think it would have been a success if it had been any other company but Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the main problem. It wasn't the tech. It wasn't the media. Just took it down. But the main issue was it was Google. It was that just the name Google. Google owned it. That was they were never going to succeed because of who owned it. If anybody else had it, I think it would have been a huge success.
100%. If Google weren't cheap with the cyberpunk hype on the platform, they could have rode the wave. Because if they would have properly invested in their blades and delivered the 120 FPS like they said they would, and like properly optimize some of the games, like there was some games that were having some issues. They were giving limited support, like Rust, I think, was supposed to go to Stadia and never happened because of Unity. It was having problem with the way Stadia was scaling multiple blades, so they were limited to one blade, which I think was giving him like 6 GB of memory or something stupid like that. It was not enough for the game. So Stadia was only good when they were able to stack the blades together.
That and the communication was ass towards the developers. It was fucking dog shit. People waited for years or like a year or so before they can get something.
The biggest mistake that happened with Stadia, and that was even before release, is when COVID happened, Google was supposed to make Stadia its own thing. Like, for example, at Sony, PlayStation, it's Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's its own division that's self-governed. And Sony rarely tells SIE to do anything. It's its own thing. The only thing in the last few years that happened, in the last few decades, that happened that Sony told SIE to do something, they told him, "Oh, you have to use Azure as a gaming host for your cloud gaming." And apparently management over at SIE were pissed about that. And the outcome was not what they desired, because they wanted to deal most likely with AWS back then, and they had some plans for doing that, and it ended up on Azure, and the performance was not as optimal as what they wanted. And so that was a problem with them, plus the fact that their main competition was Microsoft with Xbox, so that's something else that was irritating them. So, but for the most part, SIE has always been self-governed. And Google, when they announced Stadia, they were saying they were going to do exactly the same thing, and Stadia was its own entity. They said that outright on the stage. Sundar Pichai said that he would not get involved in Stadia's management, that he was hiring the right people to manage it, and that they would not get involved. And the moment COVID happened, Google got scared, and they started handling all the decision for Stadia and stopped them from hiring anyone. And that was the downfall of Stadia. So that's what really ruined it in the end.
Yeah, and the game launch lineup. I was excited, that Stadia even announced games that were coming that aren't even released yet on other platforms, like the new Avatar game that was coming to Stadia.
Yeah.
I believe even if they were still here, they probably would have gotten that Activision deal. We probably could have seen Warzone or another Call of Duty title coming up to Stadia if they still kept that relationship up.
But the thing is exclusive, man. Exclusives is what sells any platform, and they had so many exclusives that were lined up.
Chia was a Stadia exclusive. They had there was a few lined up. High on Life, yeah.
And their futures were nice though for co-op games, like the PIP shit with what's it called, Wildlands, and doing it for other games like Division. It was awesome. Because then if I know somebody's fucking up, I can literally see them fucking up.
And,
I'm like,
and
bro,
no YouTube.
why the fuck are you going over there in that area shooting people up? I told you not to. We're supposed to go stealthy. What are you talking
That's such a
about,
cool
motherfucker?
feature.
I see you.
Cool feature. And
So-
fucking what was that other feature they had? Oh yeah, the crowd choice. Yeah,
That
nothing
was
really
awesome.
There was
They
some
switched
neat
It was a
features.
good idea. It was a good idea. It's just they never pushed anything. They just
They never pushed boundaries
The,
or see things
the
through.
Stadia part of it was
Just all
perfect.
talk.
It was the Google part that mixed up in
unfortunate.
it.
Yeah, even the teams within Stadia were pissed and upset, and they had to shut it all down, and they had to get other jobs.
You guys remembered when the messaging app finally released on Stadia?
Oh
That
my!
was nice.
It was nice, but the engineer actually spoke out, tried to be as cheerful as possible, and tried to hide the sarcasm in his tone as much as possible in his
Yeah.
tweets. But he basically explained that since the platform launched, he had been working alone on that app. His one damn self working his ass on building that, and a few months, like 4 or 5 months before the messaging finally released, they ended up giving him a one intern that had no prior experience in that kind of app to assist
Jesus
him.
Christ.
Wow.
So yeah,
Talk about dumbasses. All right.
The mismanagement on the highest degree, unbelievable.
yeah,
Oh,
they
but
had
it's
an
okay.
office
You-
ready for 3,000 employees that was still 150 employees after a year.
It's okay. You know Google will be back in gaming next year, and I'm sure everyone will hop on board.
And with that what was it, Google Play on PC thing?
Oh,
Which
yeah,
I
that,
Oh, yeah.
that thing was dead on arrival.
So anyway, we're back bashing Stadia apparently, even though we're a PlayStation
Well, hey,
podcast.
we were just look. We were just helping out.
Reminiscing
the
our
community.
roots.
I miss
Yeah,
you.
we were just bringing back some old memories. It was old school night, retro.
Retro
Man.
Cloud Nation TV.
Yeah, there you go.
First Gen Cloud.
Oh man,
Reminiscing what happened. So
good old days.
anyway, there's some interesting stuff happening. There's the PlayStation handheld. There's a game. Well, very soon there's the DLC coming out for Horizon Forbidden West. So
Mhm.
I got that pre-ordered. I can't wait. So Burning Shore.
Dead Island 2.
I only have one game pre-ordered currently, and that's the Disney Speed Racing game.
I still
Yeah.
gotta beat Horizon 1.
It
I don't-
looks great. What's your takes, you guys? Vet and I have talked a lot about this game.
From the first time I played Horizon a couple of days ago, this is just from a new experience. I'm so surprised this is like a PS4 game. Like at launch, game looks astounding. I understand it was 30 frames a second, which I really don't mind. I usually play most of my PS5 games. I know.
Better,
I
no, I'm
know.
just kidding.
It's
No,
a shame.
there's people out there that are like, oh, 30.
It's not
Oh.
even 120. It's like I know I like ray tracing and a cinematic experience. I played Dark Souls 1 on 30 FPS when it came out on 360. Sue me, everyone. But
Yeah.
oh man, what a game. But yeah, from back on Horizon. It's a beautiful game. The Decima engine, astounding.
The details, you can see the visual there. Like even if you zoom in on the face, like all the little dots on the skin for the pores, the reflection in the eyes. Because if you look properly, if you zoom in on the face, you look in the
So-
eyes of Aloy,
Alloy.
you can see whatever's in front of her reflected in her eyes.
Oh,
That's how crazy the visuals are. It's
Unbelievable.
I like the story
ridiculous.
plot. I can care less about the graphics, even though it is beautiful, but the story is what I got hooked on.
Oh, the story is
was pretty-
amazing.
Don't
but-
spoil anything yet.
There's a reason why it won the 2022 Digital Foundry Best Looking Graphic of the Year. This game
Well, you
is
know that's
technically
the engine they're going to be using for their future titles now, right? There's
Yeah,
an
And
article
Death
on it.
Stranding too.
they're adopting it for more and more games with PlayStation because it just works
Yep.
so well. What I want to know is the Insomniac engine, how it's going to look now that it's PS5 exclusive, because they're not using Decima. They have their own engine.
Yeah.
So with Spider-Man 2, that's another one that looks great that they kind of I'm curious if they'll eventually like combine those engines as one bigger engine that does more stuff. That's something that could happen.
That's a hard
Maybe for
thing to say,
Wolverine.
but from a whole overall packaging, Decima Engine kills the shit out of Insomniac, but that's just me.
It's
I was
different
noticing.
purposes though.
Hmm. Well,
Well,
with like,
let's put it this way. They're both open world games. You're both still fucking fighting shit. It's just
It's yeah,
Decima's more detailed, man. It's been
because
yeah,
the
it's
Insomniac
hard.
engine
I like
works
both.
well for faster paced action, I think, while Decima is slower but more detailed.
yeah,
Could
with
be that
Decima.
Sorry,
Oh
depending
yeah,
on how you fighting, man, because I'll be fucking moving, bobbing and weaving. I
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck you're doing going slow.
well with Decima, I've noticed a couple of interesting things because I noticed a lot of comparisons with Death Stranding, another game I played. How they're the same engine, and how
Oh god, the
that
EPS simulator.
engine's I know that engine's simulation with its geometry and its photogrammetry and how realistic these developers can take of real life things and apply those textures or even model them inside those games. Death Stranding 2, I'm sure 100% Kojima was already, in Gorilla's their studio, so he's already getting in touch and mastering that engine as well as Gorilla. And I'm sure Gorilla is helping Kojima Productions with that game too, and really fleshing out that game stream because that engine is very good with long, distant vistas with great detail still. Like you can see that mountain. You can see that mountain. And with Insomniac's engine, it's a lot of what's another good word for a lot of it's crowd simulation. There you go, crowd simulation.
Yeah.
With their titles and the interactions that you can have with that world and the rain. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of more weather effects implemented in Spider-Man 2 because in Spider-Man, I'm playing it right now for PC. It's a lot of good detail with ray tracing. I'm very surprised you even got it running on that kind of a scale for Spider-Man with every building
Wait, you
being
still playing the
reflected.
first one?
Yeah,
Like
the Mary Jane missions are just they're pushing me
remastered
back.
or
Yeah, remastered. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's the Mary Jane and Miles missions. Once I get past them, once I get over myself on how
I was
boring
gonna say
those
you gotta
sections
play
are.
Miles. You gotta do Miles Morales. It's such a good game.
It's on
Yeah.
PS Plus. I gotta download
Yeah.
that. I gotta finish that title. But those engines are very powerful for the next generation of PlayStation. I'm not even sure what engine they're gonna use for Wolverine. If it's gonna be Insomniac or
It's a
Decima or
That's
a combination.
It's a Sonic game, so it's their engine.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Wolverine could potentially be a game that they try their hand at the Decima engine for, because it's
But here's the thing, though. Why would you have a studio utilize an engine they've never been familiar with when they've been working for so years with the Insomniac engine? See what I'm saying?
Just
That
tell
would make
EA.
no logical sense.
because the Insomniac engine is good for going faster pace, faster movement than Decima that we know is like Horizon. You can go fastish, but not that much. The environment, like it gives time to the environment to load, while the Insomniac engine they've been optimizing that like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. When you do like those crystals that switch you from one dimension to the
Beautiful.
other,
Yeah,
it's
the portals.
mid swing, it's loading the other map
Painless.
instantly, and
Yeah.
it's not preloaded. It's not backed into memory. It is stored on your SSD. And the moment you hit that crystal, it's switching you from one dimension to the other, and it's loading that instantly because the Insomniac engine is good at doing that. It's fast paced. It's really fast.
It's also the hardware.
Yeah, it's in the hardware, but the Insomniac engine, they've optimized using that hardware for fast loading. So in Spider-Man, for example, while you're swinging through the city at super fast pace because you're using
Assets
the web,
already loaded.
Huh?
The assets load. It's like you don't have ever those pop-in textures or pop-in issues like back in the
You're
old
loading
days.
everything instantly, so you can do fast movement with Spider-Man and all. But with Wolverine, we know like he's more like Wolverine is not flying around in the air. He's walking.
But
he
he's
goes
fucking
fast.
slicing you up.
Yeah. He's freaking
Don't
slicing
say
you
he's
up.
slow. Hold
He's not
on.
slow, but it's slow movement for the environment. So you can
I
have him
haven't seen
walking
it,
like
mate.
it's gonna be like semi-open world, but more like a
If
bit
it's the
more similar
older
to God of War.
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine type shit,
Yeah.
when he went on a violent rampage, or like the one where he went to Tokyo, if it's that type of shit, that's not slow paced at all. That motherfucker
wonder
is
how
fucking
they're
people
gonna-
left and right.
But the map is not shifting as quick as Spider-Man though when you're swinging around. So you can put more detail.
doesn't even have to
and
do with
it
that
worked
map, like
better
swinging
with the
and stuff.
Decima engine.
But again, it's like, why would they waste resources on teaching those developers that have worked with one engine to then work with another? It would make no sense. Now, if they've been working behind the screens and they've been trying to slowly combine these engines, like you said, as one,
They can
then maybe they can make something happen. But otherwise, I would see no point.
because those kind of engine, they can make compatible tools that have them working together. So eventually they could become one big PlayStation engine.
Yeah.
That
And that's
would
probably why
be
we don't
monster.
see
Like
UE5
Frostbite?
on these games. Frostbite was ass. Don't ever mention that shit.
Look, it was asked for every other game other than Battlefield.
It's ass.
Good point.
That's why they're using dice. It's it was ass.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, when Medal of Honor using.
No, but
Frostbite.
that explains why Sony isn't really using UE5. It's more pertained towards partnership with Xbox because that engine is nice. And this is no shade towards Xbox, but they have yet to have an engine in-house that's as good as Sony Studios.
It's Xbox. I think they were betting a lot on like Crytek and dropped it for a while. And
Here's my thing, man, and that pissed me the fuck off, is Rise was fucking
So
gold
beautiful.
mine.
So
It was
Yeah.
the best Xbox game made, period.
the
The
best looking
fucking
900p
action.
game.
I don't give a fuck what it was resolution-wise. The game was fucking gorgeous. I don't want to
Mhm.
hear
That's
shit.
good.
It still
So
beats
good.
most games that are out now. That's how good it was.
They're
It still
making
is to say.
they're making Crisis 4, but I'm praying that
Or they're making a
popping-
Rise 2. They already
Yeah,
said that
Rise 2.
because they asked the questionnaire like a survey, and they're doing Rise 2. But here's the issue, and this is where Xbox fucked up, is that now apparently it might be multi-plat.
Oh.
So it might
Oh,
even be out on the PS5 and Xbox Series.
Okay.
consoles, with PC as well. And if that's the case, majority of sales are going to go towards PlayStation because, believe it or not, and this again, no shade towards Xbox, I have both and I love them. They have to feedback on the hits when you're throwing your spears, when you're going into that combat.
integration.
It's the immersion. It's
immersion.
yeah, it's gonna feel good. So yeah, Xbox really fucking dropped the ball on that one because that game was so fucking good. I played the shit out of it like 3 times. I've done the story from beginning to end. It is so fucking good.
I wish I could have played it. Damn, I should
It
download
is so
my
good.
Look at the upcoming Hellblade 2 and already released Ivan Esther's. Those
I don't know how.
Yeah, hype
See,
up.
Unreal Engine made that thing happen. The
Like
fucking Ninja Theory, that game looks fucking phenomenal because of that. The whole facial expressions, the metahumans, that's all because of Unreal.
I was gonna
Haven,
hang on
Haven has
to
been
that.
confirmed to use Unreal Engine 5.
That is
Hidden
absolutely
Studios.
unreal. Sorry.
That's unreal. I'm like, oh my!
I was waiting to see if anybody.
I was like,
But that goes to show that the only outside engine that competes with Sony is Unreal Engine.
Yeah. And
we could have a
Epic
perfect
Games
fight.
and Sony have a pretty cozy relationship, so
343 should definitely reconsider and fucking utilize Unreal Engine.
yeah.
I would say, even if you had to
They should at least
it against
redo the multiplayer game in Unreal Engine.
they could do section. No, actually, what they're probably doing right now, because it's an ongoing live game, is they're probably working on the campaign in the background. They're probably updating it to use Unreal Engine, and then slowly but surely they'll work on their multiplayer.
I'm curious to
Do you
know
think those
what
like-
engine Deviation is using for their Call of Duty competition.
Here's my thing, though. Sony has so many fucking IPs, and they're not utilizing it for their COD competitors, which is fucking annoying. There's Killzone. They still have fucking SOCOM, for fuck's sake, man.
Resistance.
SOCOM.
That it
These
could be
business look bad.
SOCOM that Deviation is doing. We don't know. It could be a known PlayStation
I'll
IP
put it
that they're
this:
bringing
I will
back.
personally fucking fly to Japan, slap the shit out of the motherfucker making these decisions if he doesn't bring SOCOM. Because it is. This is like some Google Stadia bullshit. Thinking at this point is like, how are you sitting on these great gold mine IPs and not utilizing it? And instead you're bitching and complaining and crying about a deal that you keep trying to push, like prevent. Like, you already got concessions out of it. You already helped out the industry in a sense where now the games are going to be on cloud services where everyone's going to have access to them. You're still going to like get the games. And the only difference is now Microsoft is going to get the profit from it. Instead of bitching, fucking work on these games that you have. It's like, grow the fuck up. Like, Jim Ryan, you're done. You're old. You're fucking 70 or 80 years old.
The thing, though, Call of Duty already has a vast established player base.
Yeah, so what?
It's
They
the
can-
profit.
Still garbage.
It's the
But
short-term
here's the
profit.
thing, though. If Sony's going to talk shit and say that every console is inferior to theirs, or their console entertainment system, then why the fuck don't you show that and release a game?
And make
Prove.
those titles.
Exactly. Prove it.
I think
That's it.
I've been thinking about that one for a long time. I think when they were still like pushing out those IPs like Killzone 3, Resistance 3, those, or even when they made Shadowfall, those franchises were kind of, I guess, at their narrative end, and Sony nurtures their studios instead of kind of like pushing towards like saying, hey, you got to keep making this. So like with
Yeah.
Insomniac and Sucker Punch, they said we want to make a different game. I wish those franchises would return, but I think Sony's just being very respectful to those studios that brought those IPs to the people who loved it in the first place. That, I mean, you can always give it to Blue Point; they'll just remaster it, you know.
But here's the thing, though. They want to do live service games. Why not make a live service fucking game of Killzone? That game, till this day,
I
even
would say.
Killzone, the last Killzone that was made release with PS4, looked so much fucking better than Call of Duty.
Shadowfall,
And it was using Decima, wasn't it?
I think it was
Yeah,
an older variation of Decima. Yeah, it was
yeah,
like
it was
came out-
because it's Guerrilla Games. It was like Decima 2.0 or some shit. I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
Killzone Shadowfall was on Decima.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the first game on Decima.
Yep. I remember
It
the
looks
game looks beautiful. still.
fucking beautiful, man. The gunplay, the mechanics. People can talk shit all they want, but like, oh, why isn't there that many active users when it was with the online? Because it wasn't really focused on online. It was focused on the story, the actual narratives, the single player campaign games. It wasn't made in the same mindset as Call of Duty games, where it's all multiplayer bullshit.
Mhm.
For these,
and that-
oh no, Yuki won, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if they made a live service game, because he said they have 12 live service games in the works.
Mhm.
Just make one of them Killzone, make it a live game like you wanted. Yeah, use the same engine, the Decima engine, especially now that's been improved upon with whole Horizon as a showcase for it. And have these developers put their heart and soul into these games, still give it some story to it, like a single player campaign or whatever, but then add more content to it. Keep adding a battle pass if you want to have residual income that comes in based off of those. So microtransactions. Do online multiplayer modes. Do co-op for the stories, or co-op as a different game mode. That thing would sell like hotcakes, and they would forget what the fuck's Call of Duty. What was that again?
What is it? What is that game? I don't know.
Like, COD is not that great. It's just the only thing we can play as a shooter because we know it's gonna, do good in a sense, gameplay mechanic wise. It's like fucking Madden. It's ass, but there's no other option.
I know.
I mean, Battlefield fixed itself, but it was a little too late to,
That game
at that
sucks
point.
too.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
but after the
Battle
updates, it is a lot better though.
Still sucks.
I'd rather play that shit than COD. I'll put it that
I
way.
don't, you know what? I'm not gonna play either of them. So how about that?
So Sony has potential, man. I just want SOCOM. That was literally the bread and butter. Even on what was it, PlayStation Vita? I think there was a SOCOM game. I played the shit out of it. It was fucking awesome.
It's just Sony would have to find a good position, even if like they're coming back as live service games. I think they'll have to get over that hurdle, right? With how hot of a topic that thing is with Suicide Squad and the Justice League, kind of making that term.
But look who's the developer behind that.
That's what I've been saying. Rocksteady don't miss. It's like they even if their lowest rated title, which is not even the worst game
It's
in
gonna be a
existence.
good game.
It's
Square
a good
Enix
game.
fucked up because Square Enix didn't want to fucking listen to its people.
Yeah.
And they lied. They said they're gonna push content. We're gonna push content. Where the fuck's the content? We got reskins of fucking Hawkeye. We got reskin of fucking Thor. It wasn't like there was nothing personality wise implemented for Thor, female Thor. There wasn't any personality with Hawkeye or Hawkgirl. It was nothing. It was just it was ass. You got Spider-Man as a fucking exclusive DLC character for Sony, but then the gameplay was dog shit, and you didn't have a storyline added to it. There was no story campaign for it. Black Panther was the only good DLC that they added to it, and even then, it couldn't save them because again, they missed with the content opportunities, the character roster. They didn't listen to their feedback from their fan base, and on top of that, the update that they released actually made the game so much fucking better, and they waited till the game was dead.
Jesus.
That was it.
I just want to know, like, do you need a hug? Because you have just ripped everything. Like, usually that's my area, is to just no holds barred on all platforms, including Sony. And I've just taken a back seat because I'm in awe.
Hey, but I learned from the best, man.
Brian's on a rampage tonight.
Dude, I'm like,
It's because I love
Well,
gaming
show-
so much with a passion.
show
that I
am
want it
I
to
on?
be in a good direction instead of going backwards. It's like we have all this tech and opportunity to make games great and bring in a community to play with their friends and shit, and they're releasing ass after ass after ass. It's like, come on, guys, we gotta do better.
But how would you reinvent a franchise that? I mean, that's probably what any Sony executive would just answer with, like, what would ask.
Well, that's what
If it's
surveys are
possible.
for. They ask the community.
Yeah.
Who's buying the games? The fans.
What
Who's
do
the point of the
developers
surveys?
wanna make
Is to
more
collect data.
games? But does Naughty Dog want to make another Crash, or does Naughty Dog want to make another Uncharted?
Well, how are they going to when Activision's being bought? Is going to have that? So
And then when Jim Ryan is
that's the
saying
Xbox
everything.
Pro. So yeah, no.
Because I remember, Resistance 2. No one talks about it, but like that game pushed 60 players on PS3. On the PS3, 60 players on one map.
Mag
No,
pushed 253. Or
Mag,
256.
yeah.
Mag
Mag
was
was the biggest thing.
Mag was fun.
My lord.
Mag was
Mag.
fucking insane. See, Sony has the talent and potential if they continue and stick with it. And the thing is, you have to do these surveys to collect data to actually know what the fans want, what they want to see, what they want to improve upon. And Sony has that capability because they have a fan base that's hardcore dedicated to them, but they don't want to listen. We have yet to see a showcase in a long time now, and no one's talked about that.
Yeah.
Because they want to let this slide because it's Sony. They're like, oh, Sony doesn't miss. Sony doesn't do this. I'm like, I don't give a shit who the fuck you are. I want to see what you guys are fucking doing. I
wanna see
invested
games.
money into it. Like, I don't give a shit about VR. I'm not using it. It's great. It's cool. I like the product. It's great potential. But give me my games. That's what the fuck I paid $500 for, or $400 for, because I got the digital. Because the bulky part looked like ass on the console. I didn't like that at all. It looked like shit.
I should say, speaking of which, Spyro got re-added on Activision's banner.
Really?
So they would
Yeah, I wonder why.
Spyro.
Another Spyro Crash crossover? On those atrocious Game Boy games? Oh lord. Those crossovers.
As long as they don't bring it back with a ton of toys, like what is the Skylander line?
Oh, Skylanders. Wow.
So
That wasn't even really a Spyro game, was it? There was like one Spyro figure. And then
it was like the Spyro universe they expanded on, but they made them with a bunch of toys. So if
Are you talking about
haven't-
that shit you put on the PlayStation? Like you can connect it through USB and then you put it on the platform and then it
Yeah,
comes out
the-
the monsters? Yeah.
big circle.
I had
yeah.
that shit, actually. It was kind of fun. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
It made a lot of money because you get to buy the collectibles and you have a collectible, but then you can hook it up to the game and you see it like in the world and you can modify their powers and shit. I was like, it's pretty
Yeah,
neat.
Disney did the same with Disney Infinity.
I remember.
I think it's Skylanders. That's what the fuck it's called.
Yeah, Skylanders.
Mhm.
That shit was awesome. I didn't mind it.
Okay.
Lego
Disney
did
did the
too
same
with
thing. It
Dimensions.
was good.
Yeah, Lego did it too. Those were just way more expensive because
Speaking of Lego, would you guys rather play the new Lego racing game or the Disney?
Disney.
Disney. Damn. I'm
Disney
sorry.
got power. Disney got power though. I can't hate on it.
It's
I
the
think with
IPs, but I know Lego
It-
has IPs, but
Yeah, but not Lego has IPs, but not Disney IP. Lego's got Batman. That's it. I mean, and I can't knock Batman.
if Lego
Because
brings back Lego, if you bring back Bionicle, I swear, for the third time, please, you'll do good. I swear. Bionicle such a good IP. Oh my God.
but
Dylan will
Disney has
buy
got-
all of the Bionicle just to make it a success.
I did, and then my mom sold them, and I'll never forgive her for that. It was that
But no,
IP saved.
Disney's got such a vast IP with characters from all of these movies. I mean, just think about what they could add to the Dreamlight Valley franchise, what they could add to the racing franchise, and if they've already been talking about they want to they're looking for other companies to partner with. They've been talking about that for 2 years now. That's why when they did the partnership with the Sea of Thieves, when they teamed up with them, they announced back then that they were looking for other companies to start partnering with to bring their IPs over, and that's where Gameloft was like, "Hey, I'll volunteer. We don't do that good, but if you're going to partner with us, we're going to make a good game."
There's a lot of power with the IP.
Most of Gameloft stuff is not that great, especially when you're playing it on a PC. Asphalt 9's probably the best one they got going for them, because I remember Modern Combat 5 was ported over to GFN, and oh my God, was it awful. Because it was just the mobile game. It was still the mobile, but even that was garbage. So that was just a terrible. So I was concerned initially. There was a slight concern when I heard Gameloft making PC game. I was like, oh God, this is gonna be fun. But they succeeded, and I think it's because you had Disney backing you. You had Disney with you the entire way from start to finish. It'll be interesting to see what other companies are like, hey, I want to partner with you because of the success that Gameloft has gotten. And I think if the speed racing game does well, that could rival Nintendo's Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Mario Kart has no competition. I don't care what you want to say. For that style of racing game, there is no competition until now. And if Disney and if Gameloft does it right with Disney and with the characters and everything, this could rival that and Nintendo could be like, oh shit, we've got competition now. What happened?
And the thing is, that's releasing on Switch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it will be on all platforms, all consoles and PC and
Cross-play,
Mac,
cross-progression.
Oh.
Yep,
And
that'll be the first that will be the only one out of the two Gameloft games that will have the cross progression with PlayStation, because Dreamlight Valley does not have it. I don't know if it'll get it when they launch if it'll be an update that may enable that, but the speed racing one will have that cross play and cross save. So it'll have both things that Sony tends to not allow. But I'm curious to see with this game, if it's successful, what other companies will be like calling Disney up to say, hey, what else you got that you want to use? We would want to try something. You know, could some of Sony's studios be like, hey, Disney, let's work something out here. You got this.
Well, it's funny because now they got their Animal Crossing competition in Dreamlight Valley, because it is Animal Crossing, but Disney.
Oh yeah.
Now they got their Mario Kart competition. What's next? Are they gonna do like a Mario Party type of game? Like
they've had Disney's had, and remember, Disney's been in gaming before. They've done that. They were on the Nintendo, the GameCube back in the day. They were on Nintendo. I mean, they've been in the gaming area. They've had their properties have been involved in gaming. They've had.
Well, Disney is a powerhouse, because let's be honest, even Disney Plus. I know it's off topic because it's not gaming, but Disney Plus literally caught numbers, and I think it's actually surpassing Netflix at this point out. Their numbers skyrocket, and they're releasing so much stuff. Have you guys seen the Star Wars convention thing, or the Star Wars event they had, where they released all these shows, upcoming shows that are coming out?
The Ahsoka trailer.
Yes, and that made me want to watch the anime because I haven't watched it yet, and I know it's bad.
That's what we're getting at here. It's like what we're telling everyone. Like Disney, not only with TV, but with gaming, they're just getting back into gaming. They've been out of game. I mean, if you think about it, they had some of the Wii stuff in I think
Epic Mickey. Yeah,
and the Epic Mickey 2, or the Power of 2, whatever it was. But with you're talking like the next gen stuff and kind of like this area, this is still new.
But,
Gameloft succeeded, I think.
No,
With,
Disney hasn't done anything big since the Infinity thing, and
But-
that was
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a flop, but it didn't do so well, and they had to go back to the drawing board, and they did a partnership with Gameloft, and it's been going great for them. I mean, they're
this
Hey,
was
blowing
by
up.
far one of the
Yeah, it
biggest
is.
success
It
stories.
absolutely is
But
blowing up.
it's weird though, because I've told you guys this already, and even Doc, that's weird that a mobile known dev studio all of a sudden is making console games, and they actually did a great job.
It's-
I was surprised.
I think
Well,
the studio on
Asphalt
its
9
own
was a
didn't
good
have the
one,
potential,
Forge.
but
Yeah, Asphalt,
by
yeah, Asphalt
Disney
seems good.
stepping in.
No,
and
it's good, but
signing a
I'm saying
contract.
it's completely different when you're making
Oh,
port.
yeah, right.
because-
This is a
They're putting it
true
from ground
console
up.
game. This is
Yeah.
because
not
I
anything that you would think of a mobile company making.
Exactly.
think
this
they
is their
got a
first actual
deal
whole thing.
specifically for Disney properties that they're gonna go
Yes.
see them for multiple games, and I think it expands far beyond Dreamlight Valley and Disney Speedstorm. I think
It's
we're
just
gonna
like
see
Insomniac and
multiple
Spider-Man
games.
and Marvel, or their Marvel games.
So-
It's the same thing. It's the same kind of contracts they're doing. They did a test run with Insomniac Spider-Man. It
Yeah.
it blew up, and then they got Spider-Man or Miles Morales.
Well,
Now
and
they did Spider-Man 2, Wolverine. Same
Yeah.
thing with
And
Gameloft.
if you think
So-
about it, the Dreamlight Valley, it didn't like catch fire right away, but I think it.
Have you seen the Twitch
it-
streams? That thing's been blowing up.
Oh, I know. No, I'm saying like initially, but it's
Initially, no.
gone now that
Word of mouth.
then they added Twitch drops. I mean, so you're seeing the expansion of this. Like they didn't have
Yeah.
now they've got Twitch drops. So and that like night
Wait, they
and day,
added
I
it?
mean, you had people when they added Twitch drops for it expires on the 12th. So it
Oh
was only
shit!
a week.
So they actually listened to their fans because
Yeah.
people were asking
Yes.
them that on Twitter.
Yeah, there were 4 different things that you had to watch, and each one extended the time that you would have to watch select streamers. So it was like I think the first one was 15 minutes, then 30
Might
minutes,
the game 'cause I don't
45
like
minutes, and then an
Okay.
hour. And it was just I mean I was watching one of them, and I'm just watching the viewers. It was just cycling like you're watching a gas tank. You're filling up with gas because the numbers just kept going up with the people that were watching this person. And I'm like, my God. And I see the same success on YouTube now. I'm starting to see it with that game.
Hmm.
But
I'm at
I've
the
never
game
been one to like, I've always liked Disney games. Now the one that I want them to bring back, and if Gameloft does it or somebody else does it, I don't really care. But if they can bring back, resurrect the Disney Extreme Skateboarding, I'm down with that.
I remember those.
I played that on the GameCube, and that was fantastic because it was very similar to what you're seeing with in Dreamlight Valley, where you have the different worlds.
I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised to see a game similar to like Riders Republic, where you can do this bunch of games like skateboard, bicycle, and skiing and all of that
Right.
with
I
a
could see-
Disney theme. I would not be surprised
Because
to see
the-
that happen.
Yeah, so the extreme skateboarding was similarly set up like what Dreamlight is, because you could go to like Tarzan and then you would skateboard in the trees, and then they had different areas from some of the different movie IPs, and those were the worlds that you would go and you would be doing your skateboarding stuff. I mean, there's so much untapped potential with partnering with Disney to make video games if you're doing it the right way,
Yeah.
and you can make it a success.
Just imagine like whatever sport you decide to like, if you're skiing or snowboarding or skateboarding, and you join a lobby and there's a bunch of people each with their avatar that got like Disney themed clothing in
Oh, that
a
would just
Disney environment.
Oh, so
Oh,
Dreamlight Valley is gonna have crossplay. It's
Yeah.
just that launch.
Yeah, I think it will. I'm one.
No,
will
it says
assume
right
that
here. There's an article. It says
Yes,
crossplay and cross
but
save is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's.
Multiplayer
it's not-
also is happening this year. They confirm it's on the way soon.
I'm wondering if they're
No
waiting for
dates yet.
Speedstorm to launch before they get the cross save progression stuff for like Dreamlight Valley from PlayStation. Because once they get, and that may be what it is they working on multiple titles and they just couldn't get it done in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they said they're gonna add it, so there's gonna be a huge amount of potential. Like once multiplayer is added on Dreamlight Valley, then dude, that's gonna blow.
And there isn't much that's been discussed about it, but there is rumors like they're bringing in some of the new stuff. There's a lot of people speculating they're bringing adding Mulan, and
Ooh.
Wreck-It Ralph. will be getting added because they're
Vanellope
talking about
is
that.
already the next one.
Well, aren't they Smash Bros type game of Disney?
That's for like Warner Brothers multiverses.
No, not that.
But
Like,
for Disney, I
isn't there
don't
something?
think so.
I don't know if
Hey,
they
that
have
could be
one.
that's gonna be the next game.
Yeah.
They should do that.
That's
Maybe
what it
should have
looks
somebody with
no,
more.
that's what it looks like. But I agree with you. That's what it looks like that they're doing. Is they're going after who's the big dog that has all the big IPs that are the family, in the family genre.
Biggest family
Disney,
games.
right? And that
You're
Nintendo
talking about Disney
has all
All
of them.
Star Brawl. It already exists.
Oh,
Or is
never
it?
heard of it.
I'm looking it up right now.
But the thing is, with Disney, they're going after the top gaming company that is for family, and
Yeah.
that's Nintendo. Well, Nintendo has Nintendo hasn't had anybody to compete with that family genre. Disney would be the one company that could give them a run for their money.
No,
They're
that's
not their
a good
own.
development.
They're not their own. I mean, they could just partner with whoever they want.
Oh, it's
Make
being
it perfect.
developed.
It's in development right now. Disney All Star Brawl.
Oh,
That's what I
Oh.
figured. Here's the character.
Yeah,
Actually, I
I
have a
remembered
character
that.
list. So here's the characters, and this is insane as shit. Holy crap. So here's the starters: Mickey Mouse, Donald, Goofy, Scrooge, Sora, Simba, Beast, Hercules, Elsa, Stitch, Peter Pan, Ariel, Quasimodo, Rapunzel, Ralph, Hiro Hamada and Baymax, Jack Skeleton, Tron, Jack Sparrow, Tarzan, Aladdin,
So
Judy Hopps.
just
Woody,
hold on
Buzz.
because I'll switch to the share screen, but it might cut you off for a second. I gotta switch
get
some
a look at
stuff.
this list.
Won't
This
be
is
long
insane.
because I gotta adapt something.
I mean,
no,
Tron
you
is
are there.
think about like Nickelodeon got into that as well when they tried, the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl.
Yeah,
they
but they
had.
had to make huge updates because that game on release was dog shit. It
Oh
was
yeah, no, I know. But that's what I'm getting at is yes, they had it, but Nintendo.
It's got Marvel and Star Wars characters in it.
everything mixed.
Disney will not allow a bad game to come out. Like they're not gonna they're gonna go to a company and they're gonna make sure that everything is perfection.
Well, here's the thing though: a game loft screws up, they're done for. It's gonna hurt
this
their
would
rep.
kill them. This would effectively kill them if they. And I think that's why they're able to come out with the racing game is because of the success of Dreamlight Valley. If that had bombed, Game Loft would have been done and over with.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah, and this game is going to be available for Switch,
PS4,
PlayStation
PS5.
4, 5, the Xbox One Series, and PC. Ooh, but it's being developed by somebody I hate right now at the moment.
Oh, what is
What,
it?
EA?
Square
What is
Enix.
it?
Square Enix?
Squeenix?
But
Mm.
I get that. But remember,
Yeah, it's got Sora.
who's going to be watching over them like a hawk?
Yeah.
Disney will. I guarantee Disney will be breathing over their neck, like whatever they will say. Tell them how high to jump, and they'll do it. They're not going to do anything to piss off the House of Mouse. Like that would be the company that could effectively kill your business just by a snap, just like Thanos.
Yeah.
The power that Disney has, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. I mean, people could say either way, but it can make or break companies if you think about it.
I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm sharing right now.
Goliath? I see it. Oh my god. This is a
Goliath in
roster.
it.
Mr.
Dude,
Incredible,
I
Spider-Man.
already saw Buzz Lightyear. Look, Homer.
Luke and Yoda.
Yeah, they own
People are
Fox.
gonna be playing as Homer Simpson right
Yeah, so if this is legit and real, because it
Wait,
says
Diver
fandom, so
Streetwood. Monkey Island.
From Monkey Island. That is an IP they pulled
That's
out. Wow.
That's the first game I've ever completed in my life.
But if
Monkey
you also
Island.
look at the unlockables, like so you got things that you can work towards also. Oh,
Roger Rabbit.
God, I
Milo
remember that
Flash?
movie.
These are from movies that were even financial successes for Disney back in the day. My
What?
God.
Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
That's what
was
I'm
Fox
getting at.
Felix
Disney's
Jr.?
got there's so much potential for and it makes sense that they would go with somebody else for another
Wall-E.
style of game because like I said, they announced this 2 years ago that they're open to partnering with they're not focused on just one company. Bender from Futurama.
They own Futurama. I forgot.
Then you got
Avatar.
DLC. Yeah,
This is a roster and a half. Wow, Jafar. And they're just gonna get constant new characters from.
I can see that this might be legit because look, you see some of these are new. Like that was on Disney Plus recently. That furry animal, the red thing.
Yeah,
the Turning Red.
From Turning Red. That was a recent movie.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Deadpool. It's Doctor Strange.
Don't tell me. I see the guest character. I don't even want. There's no way they're getting any.
Yes.
There's no way. There's no way.
Somebody edited and hacked it.
Sackboy? Bugs Bunny from a competing.
Those might be console exclusive though.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, because it's on multiple platforms. It's not
because no. If you look, scroll up to the very beginning of that list. Right there, it says exclusive 2 for the guest.
Oh yeah.
So Nintendo. Because remember the Spider-Man and Marvel's Avengers was exclusive to PlayStation.
But then
it says right there, it's all systems.
Ryu.
So everyone gets Ryu.
Look, Xbox. Hey, see, they're even nice to Xbox. They're giving Xbox some exclusives.
Yeah,
they have a Warner Brothers character there.
Banjo is going to be Xbox exclusive. That is a massive list of that basically taps into like every IP you could possibly think that they have.
Maintron
characters. If anything's going to give a Super Mario or Smash Brothers a run, this might actually be the thing that effectively kills off Smash Brothers.
I would play this shit.
By the way, if you haven't heard of that before, it's because that was leaked last month. It's pretty recent.
Oh, that's probably why I wasn't really able to pull anything up. Would make sense too why it hasn't been talked about, because you would think if that had already been announced, that would be talked about everywhere.
Because if they're having Bugs Bunny, this is the first time since 1988 that Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse are in the same place at the same time. That's gonna
Roger Rabbit.
Yes, it's Roger Rabbit. Yeah, this is more than Multiverses has, honestly, because Multiverses is limited to its Warner Brothers IP, but they're getting people from other freaking properties and friends.
Speaking of, Multiverses is being pulled out in June until possibly next year to fix some stuff. I would not be surprised if that's the cause.
But remember, it's also, I think the reason they're able to get, like, with this particular game, why they're going to be able to get these exclusives for certain platforms is because it's Disney, and Disney's able to work that out. I don't think anybody else would have been able to accomplish that besides Disney. Could you imagine Microsoft trying to do something like this with a game and be able to work that kind of a deal out? Look at they're struggling with the Activision deal.
Okay, so here's the thing: the game was leaked, and it was by Hungry Box or whatever his name is.
Oh, HBox, yeah.
And it says it's coming out in June 2024. So the thing was that list might not be 100% accurate because it's fan made. But it does have characters like Mulan, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Iron Man, Hulk, all those Marvel characters. Thanos is even in it. So they have a huge amount of people there. And it's going to – I think Disney's going to dominate it in terms of a Smash clone.
It's going to destroy everything. Multiverses has no chance in front of that.
You know, I love Multiverses. It was great potential, but Disney is a powerhouse.
Multiverses was fun, but the support didn't come on time for it.
Oh, we need that.
And they lost potential characters.
Yeah,
like, Lord of the Ring.
I mean, Disney's got so much. And I know we kind of shifted again with the topic, but it still ties in with the gaming stuff. But I'm just like, I've been preaching the Disney Dreamlight Valley stuff. But I'm just the bigger picture is just Disney getting into gaming and really getting into gaming. Yeah. And I think that they could be the powerhouse that rivals some of the biggest publishers out there. And one, you don't have to worry about acquisitions or losing things because who the hell's going to buy
it? You own it.
Who's Disney be like, look, how much would you like us to buy your company for?
Here's the thing,
who's going to argue with it?
It's like, oh, you want the Terminator? Hold on, let me just pull up.
you don't
here's the
take credit
one
cards? I'll
thing.
just give you cash.
If that game comes out and on the Switch they actually include Mario in it, does that mean for Super Smash in the future?
I mean,
It would. Historically, Smash has always released on the next generation of Nintendo platforms. Like you had 64 on the 64, Melee for GameCube, Brawl for Wii, 3DS and Wii U, and then of course this one is kind of the outlier because it's more of a port, an enhanced port.
yeah, it wasn't really a true new one. It was
because okay, if there's a new Switch like the Switch 2 or whatever they call it coming out, that game's most likely going to it. It's going to have a native port for it because it covers the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, and on top of PS4 and the Xbox One. So if there's a new Nintendo console coming, they probably already have the hardware in hand to prepare the game for it, and they don't announce it because they can't. So
I don't know if it'll hurt it that much, because Nintendo could be like, hey, we will allow a guest exclusive to your game, but we're not giving all of them. We're only going to give you.
But look at the amount of properties in there.
Yeah, I know.
It extends to the full Disney roster. Like, not just Disney property, Disney-owned properties.
Yeah, I know. And that's the counter to my claim is, like, with the amount of stuff that will be that Disney has available, you can't compete. There isn't a game that can compete with that. I don't know any other company that might be able to compete. Nickelodeon maybe, because it's a different style. They could try, but I don't know if it would be able to handle the sheer amount of characters that you could bring in from Disney. I mean, Disney, you think about it, they could go back all of their movies. They just unlock the Disney vault, if you will, and be like, all right, what movie would we like to go after? Let's see. Let's get the Aristocats. We'll bring in them. Let's go with.
I'm surprised I haven't seen Bill Nye the Science Guy in that list.
Dude, if they add him as a character in the Brawl game, I will hands down I will get him.
They even had like Milo.
People be like, "You accept my science,"
and
that would be fantastic.
Smashing the others with facts.
Yeah, so many jokes that can be made.
There's no limit to what they can pull out. I mean, you're right that because they pulled out Milo Thatcher in this roster, and Avatar. I mean, not Avatar. There hasn't been an Atlantis movie in a decade and a half.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a game since the PlayStation. When I think it was when they had that PlayStation 2, wasn't it? When the game was out.
Yeah,
because they always have whatever movie comes out on would come out on console, and I think that was PlayStation 2 era. So it's been ages.
Same with Treasure Planet. It was just a long time in
Fox. These will be new things, and then you're adding the Fox stuff in. That the acquisitions, like, there's just so much available here. Like, it's just unreal.
All right, fellas. Well, I'm actually about to head out early today.
Yeah, I gotta go. I
got work in the morning.
Sounds good.
It's been an excellent conversation. We're gonna wrap up real quick.
Quite a bit.
Vet, where can we find you?
Vet Gaming or Vet-Gaming, whatever. Just search for it. You'll find me there on YouTube, or Vet Gaming on Twitter. My stream schedule will be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at night. Typically, it'll be 9. I haven't posted for 10 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., but that's Eastern time, so just stick with that, and then just keep the notifications on. You'll see when I go live.
Awesome. Brian, where can we find you?
The usual, Brian Summit Portugal or Biso Portugal on Twitter. It's mostly where I'm at. Just posting up stuff that happens, news, or sharing info, of course, to you guys. Sometimes I'll be on Twitch, which is X Shadow 5353X. Or is it? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't remember.
53,
yeah,
like
something like that. I don't know, man. It's been a long day.
By the way, all of your channels are linked in the title of the stream. By the way, so you can subscribe to every one of them on YouTube?
Like I'll stream here and there if I feel like it, but with work and how many hours I'm working, it's rough. It's a long week.
I feel it.
Understandable. And Dylan, thanks a lot for joining us today. It was a lot of fun. So where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Pucksuck, PUCCSUCC, or you can just type in my last name, Tortosa Dylan, on Twitter. On YouTube, Studio Taka, TAKA, is my co-owned channel. So if you love animation, if you love manga and Berserk, it's no better place to be. You'll find me on Twitter just beefing with people who think Xbox is the only platform, or people who think that I can't even say the takes here because I'll get canceled here on the stream.
I already got canceled a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know how much shit I've been talking all day?
I know. Someone's making a comparison between Horizon and Halo Infinite, and I'm like, you can't compare this.
Don't get Brian started on that one.
They put the words limiting and Horizon in the same sentence. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm like, compared to Halo Infinite, I'm sure.
Oh, wow. My bad. I didn't mean to laugh. That's fucking hilarious. I beat the game.
25 million
pain, but
players.
damn it, it looked like dog shit in certain fucking aspects. I still can't with that fucking cross-eyed chick in the fucking video, man. What the fuck, yo? Her eyes went fucking this way and this way. Not even just in Bethesda. It was even Cortana. She was all fucked up. Her fucking her teeth came out as well. I was like, dude, what the fuck am I looking at?
Brian
I thought fucking Bethesda made the game at this point. The fuck 343?
Man.
Brian on Cage tonight, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brian on Cage.
Dude, that game was... I loved it because I played with my cousin after 1 year before co-op fucking came out. It's like, oh, great, the staple we're known for. Let's wait a whole fucking year to implement it.
And then cancel it.
Ugh, jeez.
Right.
As for myself, you can follow me, Dr. Spaceman Games, on Twitter. I'll notify whenever I go live, and be sure to hit the bell for to get a notification whenever I go live on YouTube. And like I said earlier, I've put the channels of these gentlemen over in the title. You can follow them. So it's been a great pleasure having you all tonight. This was Playing with the Stars. Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye.